Hey book besties, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. My name is Cayenne and this is Cayenne is Booked. And the day has finally come. So if you've read the title, then you know I am reading the Twisted series by Ana Huang. So my younger sister is a huge fan of Ana Huang's writing, and I'm pretty sure she's completely caught up on her backlist. I don't know, but she's been after me to read the Twisted series for I can't even tell you how long. And honestly, as somebody on BookTube, as somebody on Booksta, as somebody who reads romance books, it kind of is a travesty that I haven't read any Ana Huang. So I definitely wanted to go ahead and rectify that. And you'll see I have a series of vlogs coming out where my family members choose books for me. And rather than asking my sister, giving my sister 10 books to choose from, I just went ahead and decided that I was going to read the Twisted series in honor of her. Because she really will. The titles, it's not a joke. She's going to disown me at this point if I don't read the series, because she's literally been after me to do it. So, with all that being said, shout out to Tay. This one's for you. And I am going to say, I was talking to her on FaceTime earlier today, actually, and I am really bummed that I didn't get into this series, when the hot guy covers were out, because, Bloom did their big one, I guess. I don't know. I'm assuming the colors will mean something to me after I read, but the hot guy covers are just so good. Hot guy or this? It's travesty. But I'm also not paying Ana Huang resale prices. It's a no for me, dog. So, with all that being said, the first book obviously is, so I have them in order for once in my life. So Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. I don't know which one's more popular than the other. I'm not even gonna lie, I haven't paid, not because I'm a hater, but I just haven't paid a whole lot of attention to this series because it really wasn't on my radar to read just yet. So I don't know. So I guess if you've read it, sound off in the comments and let me know which one's your favorite, because I am interested to see, do my sister and I have the same favorite one? And if we don't, who ends up being my favorite? So, without further ado, I will be reading Twisted Love, obviously, first. And, okay, so the back says, "You are the light to my dark, sunshine. Without you, I'm lost. Alex Volkov is a devil, blessed with the face of an angel and cursed with a past he can't escape. Driven by a tragedy that has haunted him for most of his life, his ruthless pursuits for success and vengeance leave little room for matters of the heart. But when he's forced to look after his best friend's sister, he starts to feel something in his chest. A crack, a melt, a fire that can end his world as he knew it. Ava Chen is a free spirit trapped by nightmares of a childhood she can't remember. But despite her broken past, she's never stopped seeing the beauty in the world, including the heart beneath the icy exterior of a man she shouldn't want. Her brother's best friend, her neighbor, her savior, and her downfall. Theirs is a love that was never supposed to happen, but when it does, it unleashes secrets that could destroy them both and everything they hold dear." And then the top right here says, "He has a heart of ice, but for her, he'd burn the world." I mean, we love to hear it. So, I will be reading in order. I'm going to make a conscious effort, halfway through, to stop and update. So, I, will actually have, a really, honest to God true reading vlog for this series. I do reserve the right to binge, at least one of them, though. I will say we love a floppy paperback, though. So, come along with me on my Twisted series adventure. I am very excited to hop into this and really excited for my sister not to hate me anymore. That's a little dramatic. She can never hate me because I'm her favorite sister. So, I will come and update you when I hit around 50% for Twisted Love. Okay. Look at her. Halfway through. Well, a little bit to halfway. I don't know. I wanted to stop before they had their first, sexy scene. Because I wanted to talk about, how he's feeling. And, get this is the dynamic thing. I don't want to say out of the way, but y'all know what I mean. So, Josh is Ava's older brother. And he's going away to Central America for a year for his job. And he talks to Alex. And Alex has been Josh's best friend for 8-9 years at this point. and they're 4 years older than Ava is. And he's like, hey, I'm just really worried about like leaving her. You know how she is. Because like the way that they describe her, free spirit, right? But she is very much trapped by a childhood she can't remember, right? And I would claim her as a free spirit. I would see her, like he called her sunshine. Like I do think that she very much like, I want to say has rose-colored glasses, but I think that she very much like chooses to look at the world in like a very positive way. And I love that for her because I really think more of us should be looking at the world in a positive way, but it is really hard to do. But I digress. So Alex moves in next door because he told Josh, yeah, like I'll watch out for her. I promise. Don't worry about it. Like go do your thing. We'll see you in a year. So they're neighbors now, and she's gotten herself in a couple of situations, and so I just think it's kind of funny. I see the chemistry. I see the fact that like she's probably always kind of like had a crush on him, but like haven't taken it seriously because like most people view him like as a robot. Like he has like ice for a heart, and he doesn't care about anything. He's like very specific about his tastes in the bedroom, and he's not necessarily sure that she is gonna like be able to, I don't want to say fulfill his needs, but like fit into a mold that he wants her to fit into. Like he's just not sure that like she's into that because, you know, she is sunshiny and she is all of these things, and like he honestly does believe that like she deserves better. So they've gone to like an alumni event where he cut in on the guy who was dancing with her. He's stepped in between her and her ex-boyfriend, Liam. That name was a jump scare for sure. And if you've read Fourth Ring, then you know. And then we've gotten a peek into like both of them because they're both carrying like complex trauma. So Alex grew up with his uncle, and his uncle was the one who cared for him after his parents and younger sister were murdered by a rival family of his dad's. So, and he has something that's like better than a photographic memory, so he remembers everything perfectly, and he witnessed the murder, so it's something that like he relives more often than he probably wants to admit. She went through, like she gets bits and pieces of it. She has night terrors and nightmares and things like that of her mom pushing her into a lake, and her mom knowing that like she can't swim. And the only reason why she's not dead is because her dad was showing up to like deliver, I think, the divorce papers, and then realized that she was in the lake and was able to save her. And then I guess like her mom deteriorated after that. And that's like all I really know at this point. But Ava has pushed him to the edge, and he's been like increasingly noticing her because, you know, proximity. Like she's really become something that like he can only think about. Like she threw him a surprise birthday party, and they kissed, and he was like, no, like we can't do this. This is a mistake. And she's just like, okay. And then, so there's just been like this push and pull, and like Alex is starting to realize like, wow, like I really do find her attractive, because he's always just been like, ew, like you're the younger sister, like type thing. But we always know in a brother's best friend that there comes a point when it like clicks for the brother's best friend, and it has clicked for him. And they got into like a wee bit of an argument because he's teaching her how to swim. They get into like a wee bit of an argument, and she's like, well, how do you know I don't like these things? Like you haven't even given me like an opportunity. Like you don't know what I like all this kind of stuff. And he's just like, bet. And that's where we are. I am really enjoying this. I have tried really hard not to read ahead in any of the synopsises for any of the other couples. And honestly, I've done a pretty decent job of like not spoiling myself for the world of Ana Huang, because anytime I see things posted, like everything's kind of out of context for me. So I haven't really been like trying to retain anything. But Ava has a really cool friend group. Stella, Bridget, is it Jules? Is Jules her name? Is she the crazy one who always gets her in trouble? Jules. So I think that maybe they're gonna, like, this is a female friend group that like all finds their happily ever afters. And I'm really hoping, if I'm right, that Josh, her brother, and Jules, her bestie, end up together because everyone's like, oh, you know how much they hate each other and blah, blah, and like they fight and stuff. And I think it's just because like they're both obsessed with each other. But anyways, I am really excited because he bought the penthouse. They're at a hotel learning how to swim. And she's like, well, how do you know I don't know I don't like these things? And he's like, oh, cool. You want to find out? Bet. Rents the penthouse. Well, like pays for the penthouse for the night. And now they're up there and he's like, all right, let's do this. So I'm excited. I obviously think that like he's going to mess up at some point, which will be devastating. I am really liking him. I'm liking their story. But yeah, so right now, like we're tracking for a solid 4 stars. I don't know, like I think like once we start to ramp up a little bit more, like, and obviously we're going to start to get a little bit more peek into like what he's doing because he's scheming, because on top of everything, like he's trying to get revenge for like what happened to his family, but we haven't gotten a lot of details about that. And I'm interested to see like where and if that comes into play and like the overall story, and then obviously the relationship that him and Ava have. So stay tuned for more updates. There's only about 340 pages. So we're 159 pages in. But yeah, like I'm really enjoying it so far. I love a brother's best friend. Like everybody knows, brother's best friend has recently become a favorite trope of mine. So definitely enjoying this one. I just hope like when he hurts her feelings that it doesn't take him forever to figure out how to fix it. Cause like I know he's gonna mess up. He's written to mess up. Like that's like one of it. You can tell within his character arc that he's supposed to mess up. And I just, okay. So I'm gonna stop yapping and get back to reading because I do really want answers. And I'm waiting for the clothes to be done in the laundry anyways. So I'll catch you guys in just a little bit. All right. So I was doing my skincare routine and I was about to put my forehead patch on. And then I remembered that I actually have some updates that I need to do before the forehead patch goes on. Not that I think anybody would judge me here, but I just started wearing it a few days ago and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. So, I finished Twisted Love. And, okay, so I went online. And I'm not the only one who feels like this, so I kind of feel like a little bit better. But Alex wasn't necessarily my favorite. Like, I liked him for, like, who he's supposed to be to this series. So, like, he's supposed to be, like, our unhinged psychopath, right? And I knew that he was gonna mess up, and I knew it was gonna be a really big mess up. And I feel like my biggest issue with this is I feel like he didn't grovel enough, even though he spent a year groveling, right? Because I felt like the ending was a little rushed. So, and I don't want to go into too many specifics because if you haven't read the series like me, then like I don't want to be a big spoiler, but he messes up in a pretty big way. I kind of had a guess. I guessed half of the mess up, but not the second half. So I was like, actually, yeah, like this is pretty bad, right? And so I guessed the second mess up. I mean, the first part, not the second part. And the second part was like kind of a big deal. So I understood why Ana was really upset. And I understood why she like didn't want to speak to him anymore, didn't want to have anything to do with him, like just didn't want him anywhere near her. Like, I hear you, girl. I respect it because, oh my goodness, right? So then we get to the part after everything happens. And he gets his sense knocked back into him and he realizes like, no, like I really do want to spend the rest of my life with this girl and like I'm being dumb and I'm letting my pride get in the way, right? So then we go to the groveling, okay? And I will give him credit, this fictional character. I will give him credit. Like technically he did grovel for a full year. I just think that we got snippets and we were told about the groveling versus like really being able to feel those moments. Like I think that he messed up pretty horribly and that we probably should have gotten some more of those like moments between the two of them. And it was just like, well, you know, for the next 6 months, I threw, and I'm using 6 months lightly, maybe it was 3 months, I don't know. So like the next 6 months, like I threw myself into this and I did X, Y, and Z, and he was always here to bring me breakfast and walk me to and from this and do blah, 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 blah. So like he did grovel, but I just didn't feel like the impact of it, I guess. And so I was kind of left like wanting more when I got finished with the book. I don't dislike it. Solid 4-star book. I am really excited for the next book that follows, and I guessed it, follows Bridget, who's really good friends with Anna, and then Reese, her bodyguard. But that's neither here nor there, because we'll be talking about a book in a little bit. I think this is a really good start to the series, and I can understand why people liked this book. But I can also understand why Alex kind of put people off. Like, he's a hard to love hero, is how I would kind of like attribute it. But also too, like, he was written as a psychopath. Like, he was written as somebody who like grew up in a very tough situation and didn't have that same level of like family. And then the family he did had, questionable. So we are done with Twisted Love. We are giving it 4 stars. I can tell you right now, Alex is definitely not going to end up being my favorite. I don't know who is, because I'm trying really, really hard not to read any of the synopsis for the next couple of books. I only know about Bridget and Reese because the epilogue teases like the next couple. So I am very excited for that one. So yeah, this is a really good start to the series. And if I say it once, I'll say it again. I'm really upset that we did away with the hot man covers. Like, I get it, Bloom Bottom, and like we're like, cool, like discreet covers. No, like we want the hot guy covers back. Thanks. I know that like 58 people watch. I'm just kidding. So yeah, that's our update for Twisted Love. I am about to start Bridget and Reese's, so I will come back and I will update you guys on how I'm feeling about that. But yeah, I'm glad I'm finally reading the series, and I know my sister's glad that I'm finally reading the series. So I will catch you back when I have something to update you with. So you're probably thinking, wow, she's coming to us with an update halfway through. No. I finished the book. Now, in my slight defense, I started it late at night. I probably need to get more comfortable with filming like random updates at night, like with poor lighting and things like that. Cause I think that's funny when people like, not funny, but like, I think it really is endearing when people come on and they're like, oh my gosh, so like this just happened. Like, I like those types of updates and I like those types of reading vlogs, but I don't know, like I wear a forehead patch and my hair's in a bot. Like, I'm janky when I go to sleep. Like, I don't sleep like fully face made up or whatever. So I just really have to get out of like that thought process. So this follows Bridget and Reese, and Bridget has recently been promoted to next in line for the crown. And because her brother abdicated the throne, because way back when, and I don't even know the name of this country, and I probably should. They don't list it at all in the synopsis. That's crazy. Also, if you see someone moving or something, it's just Belle. She kind of like blends in sometimes. Eldora. So she is Princess of Eldora. Always has been, but she was second in line. But in Eldora, like 1,000 years ago, let's just say that, they passed this law that like you could only get married to noble blood. But the reason why they did that obviously was because like you needed to make strong alliances to survive. But that's not really what the country needs anymore. So it's a very like antiquated and old rule, but still a rule nonetheless. So Bridget is struggling because we meet Reese. We met him in Alex and Anna's book. He comes in and takes over because her bodyguard at the time's wife is having a baby. So he's going back to Eldora to be a dad. So we meet Reese, and there's always been a level of like tension between the two of them and a level of like attraction between the two of them. But there's like a hard line. And Reese is always like, nope, I've never slept with a client. I never will. Like, I'm here to do a job. Like, he's very closed off. Like, he doesn't make connections. And Bridget's just like, yeah, dude, like, whatever. But there is like a steaming attraction between the two of them. And they're together, like, it's forced proximity. They're together 24/7. There is no choice. Like, he's in her business. He lives in her small house. They go and do everything together. He can decide whether or not she can go to events or not. Like, it is absolutely just, it's a crazy situation, right? To like think about. So she finds out about her brother abdicating, and then something happens and she gets a call, and her grandfather, who is the current king, has a heart attack. And so they get on a plane, they fly over, she's stressed, and the doctors are telling him like, hey, like, you have to step back. Like, this isn't good for your health overall. Like, you're too stressed out. And so Bridget sees the writing on the wall, and she feels the wall is like starting to close in on her, and she's super stressed out. And then they're like, okay, well, like, your coronation's going to be faster. You're going to have to get married, and we're going to have to start looking for somebody for you to marry, blah, 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 blah. And in between all of this, her and Reese are hot and heavy because obviously you can only resist this man for so long. I mean, he's hot. Okay, all of her friends think so. Everybody knows so. He finds her incredibly attractive. And what is probably most attractive about him is the fact that he sees her, because everybody sees her, right, with their eyeballs. But nobody takes the time to notice that, like, what's her fake smile? What's her real smile? Is she enjoying what she's doing? Is she not enjoying it? Like, is she exhausted and just pretending like she's not? Like, he sees all the nuances that so many other people, I don't want to say overlook, but like just don't have the time to acknowledge, right? So it really is the push and the pull, right? So then she's being forced to date nobility, try and find a husband, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not telling you anything you're not going to guess. Like, obviously everybody finds out at a certain point. The big thing on here is that she clearly knows that the only way that her and Reese can be together, and the only way she's truly going to be happy as the Queen of Eldora, is to have him with her, is she's got to find a way to change the rule for Parliament. And it just so happens the guy in charge of Parliament can't stand her. Right? So there's a lot of things that I liked about this book. I get this one 5 stars because Reese is the type of hero that I truly love. Like, the type that once they get their heads out of their rear ends and they realize how closed off they are, they realize they've made a genuine connection. They're just like, oh no, like, that's my woman, and like, it is what it is. So I appreciate it and I love him for that. I really do like Bridget, and I like the fact that, like, despite the fact that she's just like, really, like, my brother couldn't fall in love with someone of noble blood and like save me from all of this, because she hadn't been training to be the queen. She never thought she was going to be, because as soon as her brother had babies, they were going to supersede her for the line of succession. She's like, oh, it's fine. Like, I could be a part-time princess. Like, it's all cool. And then her whole world comes crashing down, and she realizes, wow, like, I don't get to do that. So I really enjoyed that aspect. And I also kind of like really just enjoyed like getting to know her. Like, what is it that she wanted to do outside of being the queen? What is it that she would do if she was able to do it? And there's this really cute, and I don't think there's a trip that they go on, and there's this bucket list that she wants to fulfill before she has to go back and like step into her queenly duties. And I think it's the first moment where we really realize like how deep Reese has gotten in, because like he's the one who like facilitates it for her and like does it for her. And it was like, it's just this really cute moment, these few like chapters that we get before things really start to hit the fan. And of course, like there's backstabbing, there's betrayal, there is everybody teaming up against them, there's the politics of it all. So I found that part to be really intriguing, especially since like, yeah, I understand American politics, but like I don't know what it's like to deal with like kings and queens and parliament. And it kind of reminded me though of like the king and the queen being like the president, and then parliament being Congress. So yeah, like I can say these things and I can do these things, but like I still in turn need the support for it. So that's kind of how I viewed it. So I'm trying really hard not to like pick favorites or anything like that. I haven't read ahead for any of the synopsises either. But based off how this ends, I believe I'll be sneaking into Josh and Jules' story next, which is not surprising because we've met Anna in the first book, and then Bridget, Jules, and Stella. They're like the 4 girl crew, I guess is the best way to say it. They're the besties. And then Alex is Josh's best friend. That's how he met Anna. And then Reese comes into the picture because he's the new bodyguard. And then Josh knows Jules because of Anna. So I like the connections, and I like kind of like the interwoven aspects of the group. But I really do like Reese. I enjoyed the forced proximity and the forbidden aspect of this. Like the angst and the tension of the like, are we going to be caught this time? Like, is this the time we get in trouble? Like, oh my gosh, can we meet up here in secret? Like, it was so like just delicious, like that tension. And I loved every minute of it. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, that is Twisted Games. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. So this is the front runner right now. Granted, we're only 2 books into the 4-book series, but Twisted Love got 4, Twisted Games got 5. So I'm very interested to see where Jules and Josh land in all of this. But like Reese is going to be really hard to beat simply because I love a broody, tortured hero. And just make him a bodyguard, and it's like perfection. So that's Twisted Games. And I will make an actual concerted effort to come and update you halfway through the next book, which is Twisted Hate, according to the back right here. So I will come and update you when I'm halfway through Twisted Hate. Okay, so excuse the hair. It's the next day and I need to take the extensions out. But I wanted to update first because I started Twisted Hate last night and I'm, I don't know, like almost halfway through. First of all, 498 pages. Anyway, I'm not going to get upset about it because I am enjoying it. I just am trying to figure out, I don't think we've gotten to the point of where we were in Reese and Bridget's book, which is Twisted Games, because they were already at the wedding and they couldn't find Jules and Josh. So we haven't been to the wedding yet because when Bridget and Reese showed up, they were still fiancés. So I'm wondering if that part's coming up later. I don't know. I'm sorry, I forgot I had an alarm on my phone. Okay, anyways. So I'm thinking that everything that we're going through right now is happening before we get to the wedding piece, which, okay, cool. That's fine. All right, so this book does follow Jules and Josh, and Jules is Anna's best friend, and Anna is Josh's sister. And Josh used to be besties with Alex, who's Anna's fiance, but some stuff happened, and I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to ruin Alex and Anna's book, like, because it's a major spoiler. But just know that, like, they're no longer friends. In fact, it's, like, a very, like, stilted friendship. Like, they went from being like best friends, ultimate trust, to like they say each other's names and like they barely even talk to each other. So the book opens, they're at a bar. Jules is being stood up by a date. They get into an argument. He follows her home because he doesn't want anything to happen to her after something happens to her on the way home. So then it's just like they slowly start to see each other more often. She needs a job in between her, what do you call it? The ending of law school and the beginning of her law career, because the place that she, what do you call it? The place that she applied to, like, you literally can't work it as a lawyer, even like anything else, until you've passed the bar, and she doesn't take the bar till October. So she needs like a little in between, which just happens to be at the clinic that Josh volunteers at. So we've had a trip to Vermont where they had to share the same room. We've had a birthday party for Anna where obviously they have to be around each other. We've had, now they work together. So there's a bunch of different layers that are happening. And like, obviously they argue so much, and like there's a level of attraction there, and they just like always, when you're in their point of view, they just always like, ugh, I don't know why I felt that way, or like, ugh, I can't believe I'm like finding him attractive or whatever. I will say, when they finally decide to these two are wild, and like not in a sense of like kink or anything like that, but just in like this sense of like the things that they say to each other. And I don't want to quote any of it because that would be totally wrong of me, but like I wasn't laughing, but I was just like, oh my God, like they're actually so mean to each other. And it's not funny per se, but I'm like, okay, y'all legitimately hate each other. So that is where we are right here. I don't really know. So like I've kind of liked Jules, but the big issue with Jules is like we've always gotten like a surface level understanding of who she is. Mostly because like that's all she's wanted, because as we're finding out, there's a whole lot to her past that like we as a reader don't know, but also like any of her friends don't know. And hang on a second. Okay, so like it doesn't even hint to like there's a really big like suspense element in this book as somebody from Jules's past comes back to, I'm gonna say like haunt her, because like her ex from when she was 17 is not coming back for funsies. They're just not. So that person's been introduced, and they made this whole like rules of like no sleepovers, no this, no that, blah blah blah. And like we're enemies with benefits, so like they're not going to go back on like how they feel about each other or anything like that, but you can already tell like things are changing. Like obviously this is a romance and they're going to get a happily ever after, but like you can already tell that their feelings towards each other are changing. In fact, like I just read the chapter where Josh is an ER resident and he lost someone today, young. She was hit by a drunk driver, and he's going to meet up with Jules because it's been like a rough day at work or something like that. So like in a weird way, they're already kind of like seeking solace in each other, which now, I mean, we know that things are going to work out and we're going to figure it all out. I'm just interested to see like at what point does like Jules decide to trust him, if at all, right? Because she doesn't have to trust him. So yeah, like I'm enjoying it. I don't know how much I'm liking, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how much I'm liking the ex from the past coming back. Now it makes sense because like we have to build the backstory of Jules, and like to really understand her, we probably have to understand this one person in her past. So like I get it, but at the same time I'm just like, oh, I don't want to deal with an ex. Like it's already hard enough dealing with Josh and Jules together. Like they legitimately like don't like each other, but also at the same time like they've actually started to apologize when like they take things too far, and I really do believe it has to do with the fact that like they're just like wildly attracted to each other, if people want my take on it. So, what else was I gonna say? There was something else. Yeah. I can tell you right now, I don't think Josh is a contender for my favorite hero in this series. Not because he's not a great hero, but because there's a small part of him that reminds me a little bit too much of myself. Not the adrenaline junkie part. Because he's running from like his relationship with his sister changing, his dad being put away for murder of his mom and trying to kill his sister twice. What else? He's like running from a lot, and so like he's acting out, not like acting out, but like pushing people away, fighting with Jules, going on adrenaline fueled trips, things like that. So I just find it, I don't know, like, because I understand, because like I don't really like talking about stuff either. So I think he's like not me, but like I relate to like how, not the adrenaline junkie part, let's start there, but I relate to how like he tries to distract himself for the things that are bothering him type situation. So I understand that aspect of it. So yeah, I get that. I understand that. Jules, I'm liking her more and more, like, the more I get her point of view, because a lot of how she acts and, like, a lot of what she puts, a lot of, like, it's a front for a girl who ran away from her life at, like, 16 and is trying to build herself into the person that she thinks is gonna be right, because, like, she was homeless at a certain point. And so, like, Josh is like, well, you just want to be a lawyer so you can be rich and blah, 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 blah. But what he doesn't understand is, like, having money and having a good job means security for her. And she craves security, and she craves knowing that she's going to be taken care of. So we're really starting to get, like, underneath that layer, because before this book, I didn't really understand who Jules was. And I don't think any of us did. But I think that, like, the more we get to know her, the more I'm kind of just like, okay, yeah, like, this absolutely makes sense, or, like, her behavior makes sense, or, like, the way she reacted definitely makes sense. So I really like the fact we're getting to know her more as a character, and the same with Josh, because, like, he just seemed like a jerk. And I know that's how, like, he was supposed to be, but, like, the thing with Alex really bothers him. And when he's rude to Jules, like, he regrets it almost instantaneously, but, like, can't show the weakness in a sense, because, like, he has a younger sister and he wouldn't want someone to speak to his younger sister like that. So, like, he really is, like, multi-layered and multifaceted, and I'm saying the same about Jules as well, because heading into this book, like, they were just side characters, so we didn't really know them very well. So I appreciate the fact, like, we are getting the opportunity to learn who they are as characters. So I do like that aspect of it. I'm mostly just struggling with the anxious feeling in my system, because I know that the other shoe's gonna drop, or the piano is gonna fall from the sky, or whatever it is, because we've already been introduced to a legitimate problem to Jules's career, because of decisions she made when she was 16 and 17 and had been kicked out of her house, and her mom had just been like, whatever. So I feel like anxiety as I'm enjoying their relationship, which, fair, like, that's what Miss Huang wants me to feel, but, like, it's also difficult because I'm just like, ugh. So, like I said, I'm on chapter 26, about 205 pages in, if we're going based off of the paperback. Still petitioning for the hot guy covers. If anybody wants to offload them, not for like $1,000, I would be interested. Okay, anyways, bye. I'm gonna go fix my hair and probably keep reading. All right, y'all, big news. I found them. I found the hot guy covers for a very reasonable price on Pango. I'm talking like less than 150. And I believe, ooh, they're also signed. So yep, they're home. Okay, so our man Alex, just in case you haven't seen them. And then I have so many updates. Our man Reese. Ooh, I forget how chunky they are. I will say too, catch the discreet ones being listed on my Pango. Not with the hot guy covers in town. And ooh, here he is. Okay, so I am done with everything. Very proud of myself. Finishing the Twisted series. Don't worry, my sister's just as proud of it as I am. As she has been badgering me for quite some time to finish it. So, my final thoughts on Twisted Hate. I, ironically, don't understand the hate that Josh gets for his response in the end. Because, as respectfully as I can say this to the general population, was it the way we want a romance hero written in a book to respond? No. But was it a way that a real life male would respond to the perception of being betrayed? Yes. And you know what? Like, I'm not defending him. He had to, like, dig himself out of the hole that he dug himself into. But I do understand his feelings and everything. I do understand why he reacted the way that he did. And I thought it was absolutely hilarious that Alex is the one who brings him back. And just like level sets him to be like, listen, dude, like, I'm not telling you how to live your life, but like, you definitely need to get it together. So what I really liked about this book is, I guess I am giving it 5 stars. I really loved Josh and Jules. I'm very happy that they ended up together and that they finally got it together and like realized that they've been attracted to each other this entire time. I really did like their character growth, both of them. Overall, I really enjoyed their character growth. I really enjoyed the fact that Josh is, he works in the medical field, but there are definitely instances where Jules is not feeling her best, and he's like absolutely so sweet and like cares for her, and you kind of get to see that like gentler side of him. And I do appreciate the fact that like in this one, he goes and he confronts those things that are weighing heavy on him. So issues with his dad, kind of like how he feels about how he let Ava down, and kind of like the things that are like really weighing heavy on him. I really like the fact that like he took the time out to fix that problem for himself. On the other side of things, I really liked the fact that Jules realized how she needed to handle the situation and was able to, I think, handle it appropriately. I think that like she definitely waited too late to do it, but he would have been upset either way. So I appreciated the fact though that it came from her and it didn't come from somebody else. And I do think that he did what he needed to do to grovel, but also like, you know, like you read about them as a couple in the later book, aka the last book in the series. And you know, like they really are able to like gel together. And what they considered to be these things that like were so horrible about him and so horrible about her just happened to be these like opposites that like worked really well like in a relationship together. So I definitely like enjoyed like the joining of the two of them, and I was pleasantly surprised because I wasn't sure how much, like I didn't love Josh, and I didn't love the fact that like, it's funny because I can hold a grudge, but I didn't love the fact that he was holding a grudge. So we'll just leave it at that. Definitely 5 stars for Josh and Jules though. I loved them. I was so here for it, and we're so excited for the Hot Guy Hook cover to be home. So that is Twisted Hate. All right, and not surprising anyone, Twisted Lies. First of all, look at him. Second of all, he's broody. He likes things his way. He's possessive. He is a workaholic. He has to, I want to say, to be the smartest person in the room all the time, but he is to the point that like he understands the major players in the room at all times. Christian is just, man, we met him early on in the series, and I tried really hard not to read any of the blurbs or the synopsises for the series so like I wouldn't be spoiled, but I was desperately hoping that Christian and Stella were going to end up together. And so when it ended up as their book, like there was some feet kicking going on because I thought that he balanced her out really well. And sorry, Belle was being Belle. Maybe she'll come and visit. Hang on. You're a little creaky. Oh, wait, no, you're definitely crooked. Okay, anyways, back to what I was saying. So he is CEO of his own company, which is a security company, and he's been having some issues with like the competition poaching his clients. And so he's like deep in the web of trying to deal with that. But Stella's stalker, which the groundwork's kind of been laid, like we knew about it because Jules knew about it. But her stalker's back. She has a social media account. She's been posting about like beauty and fashion because she wants to, as we learn, be a fashion designer, and has like all these like really cool ideas for like her own line and things like that. So her stalker's back, and it just so happens that Christian is, I don't even know how it goes down, but I think like he finds out about it. And he immediately like goes in overprotective mode, like puts people on her because he is fascinated and obsessed with her, even though he knows that like he can allow himself to be in a relationship. And you get kind of more like into the back story of like why he is the way that he is, and he makes the decisions that he makes. But obviously we see him like start to slowly fall for Stella. I mean, I don't want to say it slowly, like our man's obsessed from the beginning, and it really is just like him getting out of like his own way when it comes to that. And I loved it. I loved everything having to do with him. Stella is like so, I want to say like Rage Against the Machine, but she's very much like, I could take care of myself, like blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, girl, let him love you. Like, please let him love you. But the problem is he's not down for love because he doesn't believe in it, blah, blah, blah. And I won't talk about why he does what he does, but there's a scene, they have this tiff, this little argument between the two of them. And she's like, I don't even know why I care. Like, I hardly know you. Like, all you do is make me mad and like infuriate me, and like you don't really care about me, blah, blah, blah. So there's this whole like blowout. And like, honestly, I can't even tell you like why they blew out. Oop, I lie. I can't. And she says some like really hateful things to him. And I relate because like when I get mad about things, like I too fire off at the mouth and don't necessarily think about like what I'm saying sometimes. So anyways, in the heat of the moment, like they say things, kind of trade things back and forth. And he starts to write her letters, and he starts to like tell her like really important things about him, like why he became the way that he is, and really just starts to like allow her to know like a different side of him that like not everybody gets a chance to see through these letters. And I swear they have to be her most prized possessions at this point. Like, I would never be parted from these letters, because how could I be? Because you're talking about like a very stoic man who like doesn't let people in, is at like the top of his field, and is not always in touch with his emotions, like sitting down and taking a sheet of paper and a pen and like taking the time to write a letter about something that happened in his life, or something that he was thinking about, or how he cares for you, but sometimes isn't the best at showing it. And it does me in. And I think the reason why, and it's not even like a Stella thinks that like she can change him or anything like that situation. It really is just a situation of when they really start to open up to each other. I think that the relationship is like incredibly beautiful, because there isn't anything that Christian's not willing to do for her. And that's not something that she's like really used to. So it takes kind of like some getting used to it on her end, because, you know, like she's not used to someone, I want to say like obsession isn't necessarily like, obsession's not being used in a negative way when I talk about this man. But I also too love the fact that, and then on the flip side of things, like, you know, she takes the time and she tells him like, I've always wanted to start my own fashion line, and I have all these ideas and like these drawings. And I feel like I just got caught up in the social media and the aspect of like talking about all these other brands and not necessarily thinking about like my own brand and like starting my own brands. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, what do you want to do? Like, how do you want to start it? Like, what's your business plan? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, okay, cool. Like, we can meet weekly. Like, I'll help you put it together, blah, blah, blah. Like, I actually already have a template. I'll send it to you. And she's just like, that's it. And he goes, well, like, don't you want to do this? And she's like, well, yeah, I just like, there's like, she's so used to people like picking apart her dreams and like telling her like that's an outrageous thing to like want. And so she was like waiting for him to kind of like make fun of her. And he's like, no, like, I think you would be perfect for it. Like, you've been literally building yourself up to doing that anyway. So like, why wouldn't you? And I think it's just the unconditional support and the unconditional caring that he shows her that like really actually wins me over. And I'm not saying the other guys in the series like aren't the same way, but like just his approach of things and just the way that like in his point of view, we can see him being like, okay, you know, really thinking through some of the things before he says it, because he doesn't want to act like her family. And that's something that when you read this, like, you'll understand. So this is my man. He is my favorite. And my sister thought he was going to be my favorite. My best friend Mare thought he was going to be my favorite. And I'm happy to report that he is my favorite. So I'm officially done. Isn't that crazy? And it's actually kind of funny because I've been reading this series for a minute. And they're all home. So, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm going to do like my favorite quotes post from each of the books, because obviously I did a decent amount of highlighting. One thing I do want to say before I say my goodbye is that I wasn't prepared for Alex's arc throughout the series. I think that a lot of people read Twisted Love and they don't keep going, so they don't understand like the, I don't want to say cult following, I want to say obsession, just like the general love that everybody has for Alex. But like after reading Reese's book and seeing the support that he gives Bridget, after reading Josh's book, after reading Christian's book, he becomes like so endearing, and you completely understand like the fascination around him. So that's all I'm gonna say, because I feel like a lot of people read it and they're just like, okay, like he's not my favorite, or I didn't really. But also too, I think that like the type of character that Alex is, like he needs more than one book to like really bring people over to the understanding of like why he is so great. So anyways, back to what I was saying, I'm gonna do favorites quotes posts for each of these books. So be sure to follow me on Instagram, because those will be going up probably in August if I had to guess, just to give myself a little bit more time. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you should be anyways. But I'm gonna go ahead and go, because this ended up being just a hair bit longer than I was expecting it to be, but I absolutely loved the series and wanted to gush about it. So thank you so much for watching, as always, and be sure to subscribe if you're interested in any types of series read down, TBR read down, and random vlogs that my sister bullies me into. So that's it for now, and as always, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!